And I have two saddles here. This one is from the GMC Denali, the cheap bike, $250 on Amazon. And this is from the Sava bike that I have, okay, the Sava deck. And this is a carbon rail one. This one is steel rails, okay. Now, they're both great seats, okay. I'm not knocking down on the Sava seat. However, the material is better on the Vitesse. This one is a little bit harder. There is an advantage here with the channel, okay. But other than that, I think we're going to stop there. That's what the only advantage it has is read that. Let's look at the seat here and why I prefer it and why I hope that people look at this thing and might be interested in buying this seat, the saddle. The first thing you'll notice is something very peculiar about the saddle is the front. What is the hell is this thing? What is that? No, that's not where your sack goes. No, either here or a little bit back here if you're sitting upright. Okay? So I'm going to turn it around this way, and I'm going to show you the angle of it, okay? I'm going to get a little tool here so we can take a look at this a little bit better. You notice that it's all stitched, okay? So the top is stitched. We also have a ramp here at the front. Now, this ramp is very important. Shorter riders will appreciate this. It allows you to get in often on the seat without getting dragged in your rear end, okay, without hitting it, because it allows you to slide in and out. That's what that's for, the slide in and out channel, which the more expensive saddle does not have. And I've seen a $400 saddle that does not have that. This is a critical, I mean absolutely critical part of the saddle, and everybody ignores it. Nobody puts a slide channel anymore on them. So let's look at the actual angle of the saddle. You notice that the actual saddle is very flat on the top, okay? And it's got a wide area on the back. In my sit bone clearance, I need 140 to 150 millimeters. And this is plenty enough wide for that. Depending on your sit bone clearance, you want to add about 15 millimeters on each side, so about 30 millimeters total, so that you can get some support for your cheekbones after the sit bones, so that they don't just go around the seat and put your sit bones at an angle. Now, I'm going to talk about fat on your butt. Very, very important because it's critical. Because it will allow you to determine what kind of, how soft, hard, or semi-soft material you need. If this is your skin area here on the outside, and your sit bone sits on top here, there's a layer of fat between it. Okay? When you sit, that layer of fat gets compressed. So it's not going to be that same size, that thickness. It's going to compress. It's critical that you understand if you have that much of fat layer, that when you compress it, it's going to be here. That means that you can use a harder seat. So this one will be perfect for you. Okay? Still a bit soft, but much harder than this one. In my case, I don't have a lot of fat layer in between there. So that means that I need a semi-soft seat. I need a softer seat than this one. So I need this one. This is perfect for me. If I had, okay, now pay attention to this. Let's say that I had half of that thickness, that I was very skinny, and the sit bone sits very close to the outside. There's not a lot of layer of fat. You need a very soft seat, okay? Much softer even than the one you see here. The reason why is because your sit bone is going to be sitting close to right on top of it. There's no support. So be very careful. Make sure you understand butt cheek size for the side to side, and also how thick it is. Okay, that will determine what type of softness or hard you should get for your saddle. Another thing here that we're going to discuss is sack. We'll go right to these anatomical issues here with sack. Now, sack size. Big sack, you need more support up front, so you need a wider seat area at the front. Small sack, okay, you can use a thinner one, and even thinner than that. Now, the issue with the sack size here is very important because you do not want your sack, your jewels, to be squishing back and forth like this when you're riding on the hoods. Okay? You do not want that. So be very careful with that. You know what your body looks like? You should know better. So if you get a very, very thin seat here at the front, you're going to be hurting. Another thing is the size between the front and side curve. This is where your hip actually rotates your leg on, okay? Very important that you measure that. This one here, I measured, it was 16 centimeters from this edge to that edge, which is quite large, okay? Compared to this one, it's pretty much right there. It's not very big. Where this one here is very large, so it gives you a nice smooth opening for your leg to go up and down on the pedal. So we're going to get rid of that there. We're going to look at the profile from the side. What does the seat actually look like when you're sitting on it? So when you're sitting on this seat does not sit vertical like this, or horizontal, I should say. You sit on it like this, okay? That's the angle that you get. To get a zero angle, that's the line, the horizontal line that you need to get that angle. So for me, if we're using a horizontal line, I actually write it like this. So I sit here, okay, the perineal bones sit here, and I can slide forward to the hoods and still have a lot of area where I don't have any pain. Okay? That's usually the angle that I write out like that. Because if you look at the tube here, that's where the bike tube, the angle, actually sits at. Comes down that way. Let's look at the bottom. The bottom is hard. It's hard plastic. Okay? It's got Phillips screws here, so you can take the rails out. Another critical thing is rails and how wide the angle they are at. Because if you have a rail that has a very acute angle, what ends up happening is you can't put the seat too forward. Where if this was like this, where my finger is like that, angled that way, I could bring it more forward. So this is the max that I can bring it at. And you notice that both of them are in here. That's what I do. I have them both maxed out, okay? Both of them are always maxed out because I have to ride it with the front because I'll be sitting too far back. I won't reach the bars. Okay, so we'll take a look at the actual roundness of this. It's very flat here to the back. And it starts, and if you notice here, this white area, that white mark there, that's really the flat top. After that white area, you'll start to see that it starts to drop off slightly. Where in this seat, in the Savage seat, it drops off quite fast. Okay, very, very fast. And I've seen seats where it drops off completely. So you have to have a small gap between your sit bones or you're going to be sliding right off. Okay, so that side view there, okay, very, very thick, okay, but not too soft, okay? It jumps right back. So this is the Vitesse racing seat, the racing seat saddle, and it's one of my personal favorites. It's funny how this thing came in with the cheapest bike that I have, and it's the most comfortable seat that I have. So if you're looking for a comfortable seat, bonded leather top, stitched, look at this brand. I promise you that if you get this seat, either you're going to return it because it's just, remember, too soft or too hard, depending on your thickness of your butt cheeks and your sit bone, or you're going to say, this is the best seat I've ever purchased. So it all depends on how your sit bones are placed. If your sit bones are closer here, you're going to have great support. So if you're a large person, maybe 250 pounds, obviously you're going to need an even wider seat, okay? So again, I really appreciate people watching this video and trying to understand what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to sell Vitesse saddles. This is a response to a video that I watched where somebody asked me what kind of saddle I have and why I was so adamant about this one. Well, that's because of these features. You have the slide-in channel, okay, to get in and off the seat. So for shorter riders, this is perfect. Okay, you have the slide ramp. Very long area here between your legs for your hips, so you're not going to rub up against the seat. A very wide top, so it's going to be comfortable. The only thing that this thing is lacking is what you've seen on the other seat, the channel here. For some people, that's important. For others like me, by having a softer seat, where this one's much harder, I can go for hours riding and not have any pain. This one, an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I start to feel it. So again, ramp critical for shorter riders to get in and off the saddle. A wide enough saddle for your sit bones. Wide enough also for your butt cheeks so they don't hang to the side and pull your sit bones away. And a bigger area at the front in case if you go to the hoods, if you're short, okay, and you have to ride a bit more in the front area, you need a wider front area for your sit bones so they don't slide right off, and for your sack here at the front. Very critical that you understand that, obviously. It's like kind of normal. If your sack is bigger, you need a bigger area at the front. If it's smaller, you can get away with a smaller one like this one. Okay, so that's it for there. I hope that that this demonstrated on why I think it's important, why the seat is so comfortable. It has a lot of features that make it comfortable. Number one, the bonded leather, the ramp at the front. It's not too soft, not too hard. It's very wide. The only downfall of this thing are those two. One thing I'll mention another one, is the channels missing and the weight. Obviously, this is a much heavier seat. This is double the weight of this one. So that's really the downfall. However, that downfall, I would not trade it for this one. Okay, this one's on the Sabbath bike. I'll keep it there, but I won't ever put this one on the GMC, because that one is the one I ride daily, and I want a more comfortable seat. So this is like a kind of a commuting seat. I race around town with it. No big deal with it. If I was racing against someone, I would definitely go for the lighter seat. But I've raced many people here on the streets, and just with the seat, with the saddle, okay? And here's the saddle at the bottom. Here's what it looks like at the bottom here. So, again, here's the name of it. Try it out. If you like it, keep it. If not, return it. It's up to you. In my opinion, this is one of my favorite saddles, because it has the wide contact area that I need. The front area is perfect. I have the ramp to get in and off the bike. I have short legs, so it's easier for me to get off and on. And that's what came with the bike. So look around online to see if you can find it. It's 140 millimeter here from the stitch line. That's the measurements for it. 16 centimeters from the stitch line from the curve to the front to the side here, where it drops off for your hip, for the leg position. And I recommend it. So again, this is the saddle. I use it on the GMC Denali. It's perfect. I like it. I don't have any pain with it. I can go for a long time riding, no issues. This one, it's much lighter, but it's not as comfortable. Okay, thanks for watching. I appreciate that you learned something from this. And if you're curious into how to find out the sit bone gap, just sit down on a aluminum tinfoil piece laid flat on the ground, sit on it on a stair, and you'll have an impression of it. I mean, there's a lot of techniques on how to do that. But the critical issues is, look at the seat itself. What does it have that allows you to have an advantage? For example, this ramp here, not many seats have that. Nobody ever thought about that. How about putting a ramp so people can slide in and out if you're short? This one has that. The other one doesn't. There's no ramp here, right? So thanks for watching. Hope that you guys have a good day and that you learned something. Thanks.